that ego kind of protectiveness. I'm not worried about that. I just think it's, I don't know, I think it's just, it's maybe a certain kind of shyness, maybe it's this kind of, do you know what, maybe it's that, the fact of the matter is I've spent most of my life either in education or on the road. I hadn't really done much else. You know, I was either at school. I started working when I was 11 years old, and that was in opera and classical music. My first job was in a Strauss opera, and it was at the Royal Opera House in London. And literally after that, I was working half the year, and the other half I was at school, on and off. And I still had to pass all my grades, which I did most of and failed some, but I got through it. And then I went to school, and then I was still working, and then I did the college of music, and then I left college to go make a record, and then I went on tour. And then I made another record, and I went on tour. So I guess my normal kind of
all-day life or whatever.
Hey, nice to meet you. Kind of, I become very insecure about it because I always, feel like I'm going to say the wrong thing. Maybe that's an excuse. Maybe it's a bad one. I don't know what it is, but you're making me.
No, I mean, you have different other skills. I mean, you don't have to have all those skills. I mean, people like you because you are like you.
Well, I think that's, if I had a kid, which I hope to do soon, like I'd like to have children sometime before I'm old. And, it's kind of fun to have the idea of having children. But if I had a kid now, it'd be like saying exactly that. You don't have to be good at everything, because then you'll suck at it. You won't be great at something. I'd rather be really good at something and then we have to pay the price somewhere else. Maybe that's, that's a comforting thing. You say to somebody, like, they're really, really bad at maths, but they're really, really good at painting, so it's okay.
Yeah, that's enough.
That's enough.
It's two sides of the medal. So
yeah. I think I was lucky. I grew up in a house with 5 kids.
You're the middle. You're the one in the middle.
I'm the one in the middle. And I grew up in a house with 5 kids, and for us it was always like, you just have to find one thing you're good at. That's it. Just find something. And then once we found that thing, man, it was like, whoosh. It was like, get good.
Okay, it sounds really like did you make your discipline on your own? Was this your plan, or was this your mother's plan, or your father's plan, or your family's plan?
It was a bit of everything. It was a bit of, this is what I want to do, and then that was great, and then it was like, okay, now you're going to work for it, and it was hard. It was really bad. And then I started getting good, so it got better, and then eventually I found its happy balance, which I think is inevitable. If you ask someone who does sports, they'll tell you it was a hobby, it was the thing they hated most in the world, and then they found the equilibrium and it was the right thing. Not everyone, but a lot of people.
Do you think it needs that certain last step through the gap to reach excellency?
I don't know about excellence, because excellence is subjective, especially in music, and but I think to find a fingerprint, to find your signature, yes, you need to have those transitions in order to have to become idiosyncratic in the weirdest possible way, to find your footing. You have to go through that transition.
2 years ago, you received the Arts et Lettres Chevalier from the French culture minister, Mr. Mitterrand. This sounds like you're the knight of the... You are actually a knight of the arts. Was this like something, a situation like, oh, where's the exit sign? Or how was that?
It was a little bit that. It was in Cannes. And it was me, and there was also Peter Gelb, who's the head of the Metropolitan Opera House. And so it wasn't that Peter Gelb was there, because I have friends of mine who think Peter Gelb, the head of the Metropolitan Opera House, is the best thing that's ever happened. And I have others who think he's the worst thing in classical music. So that didn't kind of scare me. It was just the I didn't like the kind of the signpostage. It felt like there was some, It was almost like I could hear the digging.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, they're digging and they're sticking the signpost and there's a moment in your life. And I didn't really like that very much. I don't like chapters. It felt like it's some sort of weird chapter, and I honestly felt very strange receiving it. I never taught, you know, I never really...
Is there...
most of my friends don't know.
Okay.
They don't even know, you know, that God's something like that.
Is there a protocol or something like that you have to follow?
You have, you get this very fancy medal, which is green and white, and it's like a real medal. And I'm not going to laugh at it because it's not a stupid thing. Like, there are people who have gotten it who are incredible, who do like work for years, and suddenly, like, because Mitterrand or somebody sees what they've done in their field, they get given this thing, and it's the world to them. So it's not something you can laugh at all, ever. Because some people hold it up and say, look, you know, fuck you world, look. and they deserve to. I felt like, you know, I felt very young when I said that, and but it's a medal, and then you have a little green kind of embroidered dart that's supposed to go there, right there, I think. No.
Kind of spooky.
Not for me.
All right. I guess you're gonna receive the medal from us for being that charming and a nice human being. Thank you very much for being with us.